Hey everybody, I'm Jesse,
And I'm Addie.
and we just finished watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Now, I want to start by saying that I didn't necessarily grow up on TMNT.
Same.
I used to watch it every now and then. When I was a kid, I didn't have cable. We had our just regular old over the air channels, and every now and then they'd show, I don't even know which version of it was, but they'd show it in Spanish, and I'd watch it every now and then, but it wasn't something I kept up with, so I don't know how the lore in this movie stacks up against the real thing. I have read online and heard from other reviewers that it really isn't like 100% what it should have been, and at some point, like the story changed because it might have conflicted with like the movie The Fly with Jeff Goldblum. Uh, so yeah, don't really know too much about the lore. You were saying you also.
I don't know anything. All I've seen about turtle mutants is like people at school walking around with their turtle backpacks, but I know even less about them. I don't super like cartoons, so I was also not a Cartoon Network. Were they on Cartoon Network?
This
I
was
think they were.
Nickelodeon.
Oh, Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon.
I was also not a Nickelodeon kid. I was a Disney Channel kid, so I
Yeah.
didn't grow up with a lot of this.
But yeah, despite the fact, I mean, the one thing I did go into this excited about was just a stacked cast. Like, I mean, I felt like this could have, should have maybe received the amount of hype that Barbenheimer was receiving just purely on the amount on the cast list was pretty big. You got like Jackie Chan, Paul Rudd, Seth Rogen, Ice Cube. I feel like I haven't seen Ice Cube in a movie or heard him in a movie in forever.
Or music.
What's his name? John Cena. You have music. It's been a while. John Cena. It was really good. One thing that we were talking about that you brought up was that the turtles themselves felt like they sounded a little too young.
Yeah, they were all kids. I looked up the cast list. I didn't recognize any of the kids, and I didn't see if they were in any other like movies at the time. But they're all like young kids. I don't know how old.
Yeah, I
Teenager,
mean,
either
I guess
teenagers.
they say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They could have been preteens,
Yeah,
but it was not that big of a deal. At some parts, it was okay. It wasn't
they
too
played the
distracting.
part. I
Yeah.
mean, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are supposed to be teenagers, so like they sounded like kids. And that was cute, but I didn't know who anybody was.
The one thing that you can definitely see in this movie for sure, you cannot miss it, and it's something that I feel like is taking the animation world by storm, is the style of animation that we're seeing more and more often nowadays. We saw it with Puss in Boots, I believe, that came out last year, if I'm not mistaken. We didn't catch that one, but heard it was really good. But we're seeing this wave of very stylized 2D animation mixed with 3D, almost like I guess you could call it a mixed media. Um, Ever since the wild success of Into the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, right? Um, and I feel like it's just Hollywood just trying to piggyback off each other, studios piggybacking off of each other, be like, hey, that was successful, that made a lot of money, let's do the same thing. Like, uh, I felt like at certain points it was a little too distracting. Not
Oh yeah.
always. I mean, when you're in the action and things are moving, it's not that big of a problem. But there's just some things that were like, it was too wonky. I felt like they were like, we need to stylize this like Spider Verse, but make it different. And so to me, it looked like these things just flew out of the sketchbook, which is not necessarily bad, but it didn't scratch that like Spider Verse itch for me. Um, it wasn't 100% there. Like it was a mixed bag for me,
It
along
was
with the story.
incomplete.
Yeah,
Yeah. I also don't super like stylized art. I don't tend to like cartoons. I like specific like animated films like Monsters Inc. and like stuff like that, but the actual like 2D like drawing movies don't really sit well with my eyes, I guess. Everything was very distracting. I was like focusing on the little details that like I meant you're not supposed to pay attention to. So I feel like that distracts from the movie experience as a whole for me.
yeah. I mean, I guess like Spider Verse's thing is like, oh, we want to make it look like these scenes flew off of a comic book, and I
Mm-hmm.
guess they wanted to make it look like, oh, this flew out of a sketchbook. Which again, to each their own. I prefer like 1,000 times Spider Verse's animation style over this. But yeah, it didn't really scratch that itch for me. But overall, at the end of the day, it a cute cartoon. There's some really cute scenes,
Yeah.
especially when the turtles are babies. It was absolutely adorable.
No
And
spoilers.
I mean, you get the story from the beginning. I don't think spoiler alert, right? But yeah, overall had a good message, like most cartoons tend to do. Pretty straightforward story, easy to follow. Nothing too original. You got a big bad, you got a big bad action that they want to commit, and you've got the heroes coming to save the day. But yeah, it had a good message of acceptance and understanding each other. Like I liked that, and yeah, overall it was pretty easy to follow. Nice story, nothing too
Nice
complicated.
kid story.
Yeah, so I'm sure like take the kids to see this movie, they're absolutely gonna love it. It's without a doubt gonna be a fun time for kids. But yeah, my favorite thing about the whole movie was probably Mondo Gecko, which is played by Paul Rudd. I wish there was just more of him. I felt like every scene with him in it was either funny or cute. But yeah, I felt like there was not enough of Mondo Gecko. Yeah, I guess we roll into final thoughts. Overall, like I said, fun movie. Nothing too crazy overcomplicated about it. Overall, I'd probably say maybe like a solid 7 out of 10 for me and for my tastes. Like I said, fun. It's a no-brainer. Something to just go and shut your brain off to and watch and enjoy. Some good action sequences here and there. I felt like some of them were even like there's a particular set of sequences that reminded me a lot of Deadpool 2. I know you haven't seen any of the
I don't
Deadpools, right?
remember.
Um, I won't spoil it, but it's just, if you've seen Deadpool and you go watch this, you might get a little hint of that. Uh, but yeah, solid 7 out of 7 for me. Can't go wrong with it. Got kids, take them to go see this film. They're absolutely gonna love it, especially if they know TMNT.
I give it a 5 out of 10. Not my
Not
favorite
too bad.
movie. Don't know anything about the turtles. I just went because we made a movie reservation. But I will say like we mentioned, the like art style and stylized art, like animations were a little too much. And again, it's also like a little kid movie, so it felt like easy to understand, but I wasn't very like hooked and engaged and entertained. So 5 out of 10.
Cool. What did you think? Let us know in the comments down below.